Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. Now in today's lesson, I'm just going to go through a few revision questions on changing subject formula and a mixture of some of the many different skills that is involved. Alright, so I'll start with the very first question. First type is involving fractions, and we have p equals to 3 minus 2h over h plus 5. For this kind of question, usually we'll try to first get rid of the denominator. So try to multiply the h plus 5 away, right? Or you can do cross multiplication. So in this case, we have p bracket h plus 5 equals to 3 minus 2h. Now next, we want to make, in our question, right, the question was express h in terms of p. So we're going to look at h itself. So we want h as our subject. But we notice that the h over here is inside the bracket. So what we're going to do, we're going to expand out the p so that they are individual terms, then it'll be easier to manipulate them. So here we have, after expansion, we got ph plus 5p equals to 3 minus 2h. Okay, then after this step, what do we have? We have our h terms on its own, ph and negative 2h. So what we can do is we try to group them together. So we do our 3 steps, group, factorize, and then we divide away. So our first step, we'll group them together. And this one I have ph over here. I'm going to put everything on the left hand side. So ph and this one come over here. Negative 2h come over here will become plus. Okay, change sign, 2h. Right, then on the other side will be just 3. And this is positive 5 over here. So positive 5p come over this side will be negative. So it will become negative 5p. After we have our common factor, which is a h on both sides, what we're going to do, we're going to factorize it out the h. So we factorize out the letter h, bracket, and we are left with p plus 2. That will give me 3 minus 5p. Last but not least, we're going to get rid of p plus 2 over here. We're going to divide it away. Right, so in this case, we shall have h to be equals to 3 minus 5p over p plus 2. And that will be our final answer. Have you gotten the answer? If you are okay with this, let us move on. We'll do the second type of question. Now, this one is a little bit of a mixture involving fractions with a denominator, numerical denominator, and involving square and square roots. Okay, so first let us look at our question. We have w equals to half a fraction here, h bracket a square plus c. The subject is to make a my subject. So they want to make a the subject. But first of all, we have a denominator 2 over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to multiply 2 away to get rid of the denominator. So we'll get 2w equals to h bracket a square plus c. Okay, now there are actually 2 ways. Number 1, you can do expansion, or number 2, you can divide away the h. So in this case, I shall split this up into 2 different methods. Method number 1, okay, right, if I have to divide away the h, so this will be 2w over h. I shall remove away the h. I'm left with just a square plus c. Then in this case, I do not need to do expansion. So that's how we can deal with one of the factors if the one that we want is inside. Okay, then if this is the case, then the second step over here is to get rid of the plus c. So that we can get a square on its own first. So we're going to get a square. And if I have to do that, this one come over to this side will become minus. So this is 2w, the original, minus the c. Then last but not least, how are we going to get rid of the square over here? We'll need to do a square root. Now remember, when you want to take a square root, you put a square root over this side. Oh, sorry, wrong color. You put a square root over here, but remember, you put whatever inside the jail, you must remember to put a lock and a key. So you must put a plus or minus. There are always 2 answers for taking square root. So in this case, a equals to plus or minus square root 2w over h minus c. Okay, that's the method number 1. Or some students can do method number 2 when you do expansion. So if they do expansion, then the student will multiply h to a square to c. So if you do expansion, then we will have 2w equals to ha square plus hc. Since we want to find a as our subject, but a is over here with the a square is here with the h, we're going to keep this as its own as one term first. We're not going to do anything to it yet, but we shall get rid of the plus hc over here. So we will undo it. Okay, this is addition, so we're going to do subtraction. So I have 2w here, and now this one this side will become minus hc, and I'll have ha squared. Okay. Next step, if I want to get the a itself, I have a h down here. My objective is to get just a square on its own first. So let me try to get the a square on my own first. So I get a square. Now this is the letter h. This is multiplied to it. So we're going to do a division. We'll divide the whole thing by h. Last but not least, we are going to now, finally it's on its own, we're going to deal with our square. So then we shall take square root. Remember, square root must have a plus or minus. Then you put everything inside, and you have a plus or minus. Then finally, you write your final answer. A equals to plus or minus square root 2w minus hc over h. Have you gotten the concept? We'll move on to the next question. Okay, question number 3. So in question number 3 here, right, this one is involving a little bit of a square to get rid of square roots and fractions, and probably you have a mixture of all the different kind of skills all inside. So this type of question you need to be very careful, okay, because there are a few things that we need to take note. When you want to get rid of square root, right? Okay, for example, let me begin my question first. 5x is equals to the square root of y plus 3z 2y minus z. Everything is inside the bracket, inside the square root, and our subject is to get z. So z is both down here in the inside the square root, and is in fraction, 2 terms, right? Different parts of it. So first things first, on this side over here, my left hand side, right, I have a 5x. It's actually two parts on its own. There's a 5 and there's an x. So in order to get rid of the outermost enemy, which is our square root symbol, what are we going to do? How are we going to get rid of the square root? So we shall square everything on the other side, right? So we should square this. So I'm going to get whole thing square, and I put 5x inside, right? Then this part will have no more square root. There will be just y over 3z 2y minus z. Okay, but the question is, this square over here applies to, it doesn't only apply to the x, it applies to both the number 5 and the number x. So 5 square will become 25. So a lot of students, they will write 5x squared instead. They will square the x, but they've forgotten that they need to square the number 5 as well. So please remember, the number 5 also need to be squared. Okay, then we will have our fraction over here. Now once we have our fraction, the first thing that we do is to get rid of the denominator. So now I put it over 1, I'll cross multiply away the whole denominator here. Okay, so if that's the case, then we should be able to get 25x squared times 2y minus z, and this part equals to y plus 3z. Okay with this step so far? Okay, next, remember the objective that they want x in terms of the rest. So z in terms of the rest. So z is trapped in my bracket over here, and there's a 3z over here. So what we can do, we need to expand out, save it from the palace. Okay, so we need to expand out. So we will have 50x squared y minus 25x squared z to be equals to y plus 3z. Okay, now finally we have no longer any more fractions and all the terms are individually on their own. So we're going to do some shifting, right? So first, what do we have? We want letter z. So this is a term with z and this is the term with z. So then in this kind of case where there are two terms or more than one terms of the variable that we want, we'll do our favorite step, G, F, D. What's G? The first one, we're going to group them together. Group the terms with the, group the terms with the z together. So we're going to group them. Okay, let me split it up. My left hand side and right hand side. So what I'm going to do, in order to get z to be positive, so in this case, I shall shift negative 25x squared z over to the right hand side. Okay. So on my right hand side, my original citizen on my right hand side is just 3z. I'm keeping the 3z because I want the z to be all on this side. I'm shifting, okay, negative 25x squared z over. So I will have positive, changing the sign now from negative. So undo the subtraction, become addition. Then 25x squared z over here. Next, on my left hand side, I shall have 50x squared y. And I'm going to shift y over to this side because there's no z in it, right? So from here, it becomes negative y. Okay, then our next step, remember our objective is to have z and z. So we're going to factorize. I'm not going to be too bothered with the other terms, so I'm going to just keep it as 50x squared y minus y. Although some of you might tell me that, that you can do factorization for this, but y is not my subject that I want, so I don't bother. I'm not bothered with it in case if I do and then I do it wrongly, okay? But I'm going to factorize out the z from the right hand side. So I will have z bracket 3 plus 25x squared. Okay? Right? Okay, this step. Then last but not least, we'll do our step, we'll do a division. Divide. Okay, so we're going to do a division. And we'll end up with the letter 50x squared y minus y over the whole of the denominator over here. Okay, we don't want this, so we're going to divide this part away. So it will be just 3 plus 25x squared equals to z. And last but not least, we're going to put z as our subject. So z is in the front. So 50x squared y minus y over 3 plus 25x squared. Have you gotten the answer? Okay, with that, we shall come to the end of this part of our revision for today. Please do your textbook practice questions over here, the relevant questions, and practice the skill. I'll see you for the next lesson. Thank you and goodbye. Bye.